Hey guys, it's Mike here, and welcome to another topic that we're going to be doing today on Dragon Ball Z. And the topic is going to be, what if Goku fought Frieza when he first showed up on Namek? You know, not fighting the Ginyu Force, not getting injured by Vegeta, you know, when he got taken over by Ginyu, all that stuff that happened. What if he just went and fought Frieza with the Kaio-Ken? And of course, before I get into this, I'm joined by two very special guests. And first, from Space Australia, we have Superjayain. Introduce yourself.
How's it going, guys? Great to be here. Fair dinkum, dinky die Aussie right here. How's it going, guys?
He's a real sick cunt, ain't he?
I am a sick cunt.
We also got from the land of milk and honey, and some chocolate too, Big D from Geekdom101. Introduce yourself.
I don't know how much chocolate there is in Cuba, but there's plenty of sugar. That's a fact. And cocaine.
Oh yeah, the cocaine and sugar. Aren't they not the same thing? Do they not cut it with the cocaine anyway?
They look very similar, Tony. I told you not to fuck me.
It's actually
Scarface
kind of
reference.
funny that I don't know if you've seen all Breaking Bad, but they actually include tons of cast members from that. Like Tony's friend is actually the Don.
You're talking about Manolo, bro. And he actually plays Manolo in there.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, pretty much. Yeah.
I guess he survived the bullet.
Dragon Ball needs a Manolo type character. Now that I think about it, Krillin's not cutting it.
I'll elect Piccolo, because he needs something to do at this point and, you know, not get beat by chopsticks. But that's another story. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about Goku when he first shows up on Namek, you know, from that little spaceship that he got, even though, you know, it used to be a very small Saiyan ship, got turned into a giant ship. We have no idea how the hell that works, but it's Dragon Ball. Fighting Frieza. And I guess the situation would show up that either the Ginyu Force never came, or, you know, maybe he just disposes of them quickly with a higher level of Kaio-Ken and just immediately goes to fight Frieza. In either case, we're going to speculate about exactly what we think would happen. So, I'll let Superjayain go first.
Well, guys, I think that Goku would be able to beat First Form Frieza. And my reasons being are that I believe his body could withstand at very least a 10 times Kaio-Ken. And if that's the case, as we know, Kaio-Ken is a 10 times multiplier of his 90,000 power level, because power levels exist at that stage in the series. So 900,000 against 530,000. I think that's definitely something that it's definitely a scenario where Goku would win hands down, because I believe after his training in 100 times gravity on the way to Namek, I think he would be able to withstand 10 times Kaio-Ken. Even though it was only a 6-day trip, I still think it would be enough for him to withstand 10 times Kaio-Ken, and the reason being is the fact that he was already able to withstand a 3 times Kaio-Ken or 4 times Kaio-Ken against Vegeta. So if that's the case, I have no problem believing that he would be able to minimum withstand a 10 times Kaio-Ken. It would really be over pretty quickly, I think. It really depends on whether or not Frieza how much damage Frieza could withstand in his first form. You know, would he need to transform straight away, or would he be able to take damage from Goku? Would Goku be able to kill him quickly? I don't know which way the fight would go, but I'd have to pick Goku just based on the fact that 900,000 against 530,000 is a pretty big gap there, and I think Goku could inflict enough damage on Frieza before his body wore out to beat Frieza. That's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good way to sum it up. On top of that, I do kind of feel like in the original manga, at least, when Frieza's going from one stage to the next, even though perhaps from what little we've seen of Fukatsu no F, he seems to be able to do it much faster, but in the original manga and the way that Frieza's transforming, it seems like certain transformations take him a while. And if you got someone so powerful in Goku, maybe he could prevent him from even transforming at that point. So, Big D, what do you think?
Everything on paper that Jay just said and you just said makes sense. However, you're forgetting one thing that's a key point, and that is the characters of Goku and Frieza. And what I mean by that is this. Would Goku really take Frieza out? I mean, this is a very naive character. This is a character that, not unlike Vegeta, wants to face people at their best. And even though Goku, when he first arrives on planet Namek and knocks out the Ginyu Force, now obviously in this fantasy world, I'm going to guess, like let's say that you'd ask me to kind of book how it would happen, I'm going to guess that Ginyu tried the body change and Goku dodged it. And since Ginyu already punched himself in the stomach, Goku figured out a way to dodge it somehow. And then he would just take out Ginyu. Maybe not kill him, but Vegeta would obviously finish the job at some point. So what that does is that changes everything, because the Zenkai boost that Goku received when he was in the rejuvenation tank after Ginyu fucked up his body, that Zenkai boost would not have occurred. And that Zenkai boost I felt was crucial to Goku even surviving against Frieza for the first half of that fight. So I think Goku at full power, Kaio-Ken times 10, or maybe even times 20 if he can whip it out, I think would definitely be able to thrash First Form Frieza, Second Form Frieza even, and possibly Third Form Frieza, but that's a little tougher to say. However, knowing Goku's character, Frieza would have told him, oh, if I can transform, I'd kill you, and then Goku would say, I want you at your best, because I'm an idiot, and it would be just like what happened, except that Frieza would probably beat him even worse, because he doesn't have that Zenkai boost that protects him. So I'm going to go with Frieza, based on Goku allowing Frieza to freaking do what he wants.
Yeah, of course, all these what if situations tend to be, what if they acted according to how they really should? You know what I mean? Like, if Goku was smart, he realized what threat that Frieza was, what he's actually done, and he just goes full out from the beginning with 20 times Kaio-Ken, I think he could effortlessly kill Frieza in his first form. Second form, too, since Goku's power at 20 times would have to be 1.8 million, and we have no idea how strong third form is, but I think there's an argument to say he's over 2 million at that point.
Well, I'm sorry, the Daizenshus do give a number. I don't remember off the top of my head, but there is an official number for the third form Frieza. But okay. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
But if it's over 1.8, or if it's equal to 1.8, I think Goku would lose because of the fact of the toll that it takes on his body. But then again, Goku would have himself, Gohan, who gets his rage boost, Krillin, who could, use the Kaio-Ken and the
and he'd have
Destructo
Vegeta.
Disc. And they have Vegeta. I mean, there's all these factors that are going against Frieza at this point. I mean, it just seems to me, if we factor in all these different variables, even though it's a what if and Goku might be an idiot, it seems like the odds are actually in against Frieza. And that's kind of why I guess that Frieza transformed in the first place, because even though he's like, oh, I could beat you in this form, Vegeta provoked him. He does say, oh, if we team up, we can beat you and such. But, I mean, it's kind of a difficult thing to really figure out.
Well, I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Do you guys have any other...
If Goku goes all out, he'd win. But if Goku acts like Goku, Frieza would go to his fourth form anyways. And without that Zenkai boost that he got from the rejuvenation tank, he would have gotten his ass kicked even worse.
That's true, although Goku has sometimes gone all out if he realized the threat. For example, when he fought Kid Buu, he immediately went Super Saiyan 3 in the manga. Unlike in the anime, unlike in the anime where he dawdles around in his Super Saiyan 2 form for no reason, he immediately goes Super Saiyan 3 in the manga. So I think that kind of like if Goku is going all out against the character, he could if he realized the threat, if he realized what was at stake. But I mean, even on Namek, Goku was. But
hold on. But also not just that. Even if he went all out and was able to at least knock Frieza out, Frieza would just get up and be like, and then Goku would be like, get off this planet. You've learned your lesson. And then Frieza would just lick his... There's no possible way that I can see Goku just killing Frieza. I mean, I'm just being honest with you, because he's never done it before. This guy killed his best friend, and Goku still gave him ki, and still let him live. It's just not in his nature to just wipe Frieza out, you know what I mean?
I feel like the reason he did that, though, is because he kind of felt like what he did to Frieza was worse than death. He broke him mentally as well as physically. Like, he didn't kill Frieza, but he's like, you're defeated, I'm stronger than you, there's nothing you could do to beat me at this point, so just go float off into space,
Yeah, but if this happened, he would beat Frieza up. Frieza would say, if only you let me transform. And remember, and then he'd be fucked. And that's what I'm saying. He would let Frieza transform. And remember, in the Japanese version, I don't remember about the dub, but in the Japanese version, when Frieza goes into his fourth form, all of his wounds are healed.
Yeah.
So Goku's fucked.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and it's his own fault.
I'll just interject there and say that I definitely agree that if Goku went all out, obviously right from the start, he would win. But obviously, I have to agree with Geekdom as well in that sense that Goku probably wouldn't. I'd have to say Third Form Frieza would be beyond Goku just because of the ease in which he beats Piccolo with, and Piccolo would be pretty close to 1.8 million, which is Goku's 20 times Kaio-Ken, so Piccolo would be ballpark with Goku at 20 times Kaio-Ken. I think Piccolo, if off memory, was put at 1.6, so I think Third Form Frieza would be a little bit out of Goku's grasp, but yeah, the fact that Frieza has all these things up his sleeve with the fourth form, all his wounds being healed, he probably would win. But if Frieza doesn't go straight to his fourth form, maybe the Z Fighters can win, just based on the fact that you've got Vegeta, you've got Piccolo, assuming Piccolo was still wished to Namek, which I assume
that's
would
a
be.
variable.
You've got Piccolo, you've got Vegeta, you've got Gohan, you've got Krillin. I think there's too many Z Fighters there for Frieza to deal with. If they all attacked him at once, which as we know on the show, that's not usually something that happens. The Z Fighters usually stand to the sideline and let someone else take the limelight and fight. But if they actually all worked together, theoretically, I think they could beat Frieza up until his fourth form. If he goes into his fourth form, I think Frieza has that much power at his disposal in his fourth form, which we know, with a power level of 120 million. Without Goku's rejuvenation chamber boost, there's no way that even if they all teamed up, I think they could touch Frieza because of his power level of 120 million. But up until his first three forms, they could theoretically beat him if they all work together, I think. But if we're just talking about Goku versus Frieza, I think he could beat Frieza up until his first two forms if he went all out. I have to agree with Danny there.
I mean, there is also the possibility that Dende helps him akin to how he helped Vegeta, but, I mean, it would be much more difficult.
He could give them multiple Zenkai boosts, because, I mean, Vegeta in his close to SSJ, or whatever you want to call it, when he was flashing yellow, was very impressive. There's no question that Vegeta would have killed Third Form Frieza. So yeah, if they thought of that, then they win as well. But now we're going in all kinds of directions.
The thing there is as well, I'll just add, as a Vegeta fan, is that Vegeta, it was very much implied Vegeta had surpassed all of them at that stage, even Frieza in his third form, because Piccolo is in awe of Vegeta's power.
That's right.
And as we know, Piccolo is stronger than second form Frieza, so yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Well, here's a quick little follow-up question. What do you think would happen if Goku did kill Frieza in this point in time? What do you think the ramifications, at least short-term, would have been? Because I know the long-term might be more difficult to figure out, but what do you think would happen short-term?
Jay?
Well, obviously I think that they'd all head back to Earth. The planet Namek obviously wouldn't have been destroyed, otherwise they all wouldn't still be alive. So they probably would have gotten back on their ship and headed back to Earth. Vegeta, I think, would have tagged along with them. He may have wanted to... Who knows, Vegeta may have wanted to settle his battle with Goku right there, then and there, based on, the fact that he had improved a lot. But then again, if they were to fight then and there, I'd still give the fight to Goku, just because of Goku's Kaio-Ken hacks. But...
Well, I also think, just to add to what you're saying, I think that Vegeta would have probably spent some time, like he did in the filler, probably destroying some more of Frieza's maybe bases and things like that. I think he would probably make it an effort to do that first, just to make sure. Because, okay, if we look at let's look at it like Vegeta knew who King Cold was, even though when Toriyama wrote it, he didn't even know who King Cold was. But let's say that Vegeta knew who King Cold was, even though I'm not even so sure that he even knew. There's no evidence in the manga that Vegeta knew who King Cold was at all, but he knew that.
Aside from when Trunks kills him, he's like, "Oh, he killed his fathers," and but that's about it.
Yeah, but did he? I don't know if he knew how strong he was, but you would think that just to be safe, Vegeta would have gone and had a rampage and then challenged Goku on Earth. I mean, I think the biggest ramification of the events not happening the way they did is that Goku would have probably never unlocked the SSJ form, and then more importantly than that, I think he would have never learned the Shunkan Ito, the instantaneous movement, which I think is a key technique in the remainder of the series.
And then there's a possibility that King Cold shows up to Earth and just blows it up from orbit like he wanted to. And of course, the androids would definitely kill everyone.
Or he would have gone to Earth like Sobra and Tagoma did, with the intent of bringing Frieza back to life.
That's a very interesting thing there, though. Sorry to interrupt with King Cold, because King Cold probably would have gone to Earth and destroyed it. And it's very interesting because obviously that ends the threat of the androids, and King Cold is significantly weaker of the androids, yet he's preemptively striked and ended that whole arc. I mean,
he would also make it so Buu would never be revived, so King Cold could, in effort, be the hero of the next two arcs by blowing up the Earth.
I don't know about hero, maybe anti-hero, but...
Yeah, so do you guys have your final thoughts or final conclusions as to what you think would happen, Jay?
Well, that's very interesting. You guys have just brought up some very interesting points there. I think ultimately Vegeta would want to settle his fight with Goku, but that would, probably come down to the fact of whether or not King Cold seeks his revenge or not. But either way, when you think about it, even if King Cold doesn't seek his revenge, like you said, the androids are going to show up. Majin Buu would show up. I just don't think they'd be strong enough to, beat those foes. And the reason I say that is because Goku unlocking the Super Saiyan form was a key point in the series, because that became something that was obviously there. They knew about it. They knew that was a form that existed. It wasn't a legend anymore. It was real. So Vegeta then sought after that power. Trunks and Gohan had that power. We know that that's a power that existed in the Dragon Ball universe. So without the Super Saiyan power-up, you really have nowhere to go from that point onwards in the series. I can't see them getting that powerful in their base form, so the foes that are to come in the future would just kill them. So that's basically how the series would end up.
Yeah, like all these what-ifs, things have to happen. Causality in Dragon Ball.
So what do you think? So is that your final thoughts, D?
That's mine, yeah. That's it.
Okay, well, my final thoughts kind of line up with theirs. Essentially, so many things are intermeshed and interweaved in Dragon Ball, and if something doesn't happen, something tends to just destroy everything, then that's the end of the series. But I still feel like I'd give the edge to Goku in this, but there's many good arguments on either side. In either case, this has been another segment on Dragon Ball Z. Tell us all your thoughts in the comments section, what you thought of this video, and of course what you'd like to see us talk about in the future. Who do you think would have won in this example, Goku or Frieza, and what do you think would have happened afterwards? Also, don't forget to check out Superjayain's channel and Big D's channel at Geekdom101. And don't forget to check out the Ask FM, that'll be in the description. And as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
Subscribe, do it now.
Yeah, come on, what are you waiting for? Do it now.
Use your triceps and your biceps to click that subscribe button.
And you better subscribe.